It was an evening like any other in the sleepy town of Clearwater, nestled in the heart of the American Midwest. The streets were quiet, the homes bathed in the soft glow of television screens and porch lights. In one such home, James Carter, a respected but relatively unknown astrophysicist, was lost in his work, surrounded by stacks of papers and the gentle hum of his computer. His life's work, a comprehensive study on the potential for quantum communications to revolutionize human connectivity, lay spread out before him. Little did he know, his research had attracted attention far beyond the academic circles of Earth. High above, cutting a silent path through the night sky, a Zorblatian scout ship hovered, cloaked from human eyes. The Zorblatians, beings of pure energy and thought, had traveled the expanse of the galaxy, driven by a relentless thirst for knowledge and an unyielding directive to assess any and all potential threats. Earth, with its burgeoning technological advancements and chaotic socio-political landscape, had become a subject of interest. The decision to initiate contact was made with clinical precision. The Zorblatians chose James not for his physical prowess or political influence, but for his mind. A mind that had ventured beyond the confines of conventional human thought. As James labored over his research, oblivious to the eyes upon him, a beam of light descended from the scout ship, enveloping him and his work. In an instant, he was gone, spirited away to the Zorblatian vessel. Aboard the ship, James awoke to find himself in a space that defied logic. The room, if it could be called that, was a fluid construct of light and shadow, changing and adapting with each thought and movement. Before him floated the Zorblatians, their forms shifting and pulsating with energy. They communicated not with words but with thoughts, directly interfacing with his mind. Fear gripped James, but beneath that fear lay a burning curiosity. He realized he was not just a captive, but a crucial participant in something much greater. The Zorblatians wasted no time. They delved into James's mind, searching for the essence of human ingenuity and spirit. They probed his understanding of quantum physics, his theories on communication, and his subconscious fears and hopes for humanity. But as they navigated the labyrinth of his mind, they encountered something unexpected, a depth and resilience they had not anticipated. James, for his part, began to understand the monumental nature of his situation. He was a representative of humanity, caught in an interstellar dialogue that could alter the course of human history. As the Zorblatians pressed on with their interrogation, James's initial fear gave way to determination. He resolved not only to survive the encounter, but to turn it to humanity's advantage. Unknown to his captors, he began to observe, to learn, and to plan. The stage was set for a clash of intellects that would prove the Zorblatians' first and most critical mistake, underestimating the human spirit. This unexpected encounter, set against the backdrop of a quiet Midwestern night, marked the beginning of a story that would forever change James Carter and the destiny of two civilizations. The Zorblatians had come seeking knowledge, perhaps even dominance, but what they found was a testament to the complexity, resilience, and indomitable will of the human race. As the Zorblatian interrogation of James Carter unfolded, it became a dance of minds, a battle waged not with weapons, but with wits and willpower. The Zorblatians, beings who had evolved beyond the confines of physical form into entities of pure energy, were accustomed to easily overpowering the consciousness of lesser-developed species. They found, however, that the human mind, especially that of an individual as singularly focused and intelligent as James, was a formidable labyrinth of complexity, resilience, and unpredictability. The interrogation chamber, a space where the laws of physics seemed negotiable, adapted to the flow of the interrogation. Walls pulsed with light, and the air vibrated with the silent cacophony of thought exchange. James, seated at the center of this maelstrom of alien technology, felt both the invasive touch of the Zorblatians probing his thoughts and the subtle tug of his own consciousness, resisting, deflecting, and even at times counterattacking. The Zorblatians were searching for vulnerabilities, technologies, or insights that could pose a threat to their existence or offer new avenues for their own expansion. Their methods were sophisticated, bypassing language and cultural barriers to directly access memories, knowledge, and even emotions. But as they delved deeper into James's mind, they encountered unexpected defenses, not physical barriers, but the sheer force of his intellect and will. James's understanding of quantum physics and his speculative theories on the nature of consciousness and reality itself presented the Zorblatians with paradoxes and puzzles. His mind was a fortress of riddles, protected by a moat of questions that the Zorblatians found themselves inadvertently answering. Each attempt to extract information from him became a lesson in human creativity, determination, and the capacity for abstract thought. Amidst this mental tug-of-war, James realized that the Zorblatians, for all their advanced capabilities, were as curious about him as he was about them. This revelation sparked an idea, a strategy not just for survival, but for turning the tables. He began to selectively reveal information, crafting a narrative that highlighted humanity's potential for cooperation and peace, while also sowing seeds of doubt about the efficacy of the Zorblatians' aggressive tactics. Simultaneously, James's unique mind began to affect the Zorblatians in unexpected ways. The depth of human emotion, the concept of individuality so deeply ingrained in his psyche, began to resonate within the collective consciousness of his captors. They experienced flashes of human fear, hope, love, and despair, emotions they had observed but never fully understood. This emotional contagion, unintended and unforeseen, began to fracture the unity of their purpose, introducing a variable they had not considered: empathy. The interrogation, intended to be a straightforward extraction of information, had evolved into a complex exchange that questioned the very nature of consciousness and the value of individuality. James Carter, the astrophysicist who had vanished from Earth without a trace, was no longer just a subject of study, but a catalyst for an unforeseen shift in the dynamic between human and Zorblatian. As the Zorblatians struggled to maintain control over the interrogation, they failed to notice the subtle shifts within the dimly lit confines of the Zorblatian interrogation chamber. A silent battle raged on. The Zorblatians, entities of pure thought and energy, had never encountered a species with the mental fortitude to resist their advanced interrogation techniques. James Carter, however, was proving to be an exception. His background in astrophysics and quantum communications had honed his mind into a weapon of unmatched precision and resilience. The deeper the Zorblatians delved, the more they found themselves ensnared in a web of human intellect and emotion, a labyrinth from which there seemed no escape. James's strategy was twofold: to protect the secrets of humanity and to sow seeds of doubt among his captors. With every probe and every attempt to break him, he pushed back, offering up insights into human culture, philosophy, and ethics that challenged the Zorblatians' perceptions. He painted a picture of Earth not as a planet of lesser beings to be dominated or feared, but as a cradle of potential allies and partners in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. As the interrogation progressed, James realized that the Zorblatians, despite their advanced technology and intelligence, possessed a fundamental misunderstanding of human strength. It was not in their technology or weapons that humans excelled, but in their capacity for love, sacrifice, and resilience in the face of adversity. These were concepts alien to the Zorblatians, whose existence was defined by logic and the pursuit of knowledge devoid of emotional context. James seized upon this realization, using moments when the interrogation intensified to project his most potent memories and emotions. He shared experiences of love and loss, of standing under the starlit sky in awe of the universe's vastness, of the fierce desire to protect those he cared about. These were not just defenses, but counterattacks, designed to overload and confuse his captors with the intensity and complexity of human emotion. The Zorblatians were taken aback by the depth and strength of James's mental fortitude. Their efforts to dissect his psyche only led them deeper into confusion and internal conflict. They had encountered many species in their galactic explorations, but never one that could challenge them on such a fundamental level. The unity of their purpose began to crack as they were exposed to the raw essence of human spirit, something their collective intelligence had never processed. Among the Zorblatians, a faction began to question the morality of their mission. They were disturbed by the strength of the emotions and the ethical dilemmas James presented. His resilience sparked a debate within their collective mind, a debate that had been unthinkable before this encounter. Was there more to the universe than the acquisition of knowledge and power? Could the emotions and individuality James displayed hold a value they had overlooked? Meanwhile, James, drawing on every ounce of his strength and intellect, began to sense the shift in his captors. He understood that if he could create a schism within their ranks, he might find a path to freedom, or at least to a stalemate that would prevent harm to Earth. His resolve hardened. He would not break, not only for his sake but for the future of humanity. As the chapter closes, the Zorblatians, once a monolithic force of logic and power, find themselves at a crossroads. James Carter, a lone human. Within the shifting, thought-responsive confines of the Zorblatian interrogation chamber, James Carter's mind raced. The realization that his captors were susceptible to the very human emotions and ethical dilemmas he presented had given him an unexpected edge. It was an advantage he knew he had to exploit, not only to secure his own freedom, but to safeguard Earth's future. The Zorblatians' technology was beyond anything humanity had encountered, but their unfamiliarity with human resilience and ingenuity was their Achilles' heel. James formulated a daring escape plan, leveraging both his deep understanding of quantum physics and the subtle influence he had begun to wield over his captors' perceptions. James's plan hinged on a critical insight. The interrogation chamber, with its fluid architecture of light and energy, responded to thought patterns. He had noticed subtle shifts in the environment corresponding to his own thoughts and emotions, as well as those of the Zorblatians. If he could control this response, even momentarily, he might create an opportunity to escape. Over the next several interrogation sessions, James began experimenting with this concept, subtly manipulating his thoughts and emotions to test the chamber's reactions. He discovered that by focusing on certain memories or ideas, he could induce specific changes in the room's configuration. This was his breakthrough. Meanwhile, the Zorblatians, embroiled in their internal debate over the ethics of their mission and the unexpected impact of James's resistance, were distracted, their surveillance not as sharp as it had been. James sensed the growing rift among his captors, a division he could use to his advantage. He decided the time to act was during the next interrogation session. As the session began, James concentrated on projecting a sense of calm and resignation, lulling the Zorblatians into a false sense of security. Then, at the precise moment, he shifted his focus dramatically, conjuring a vivid memory of standing in the eye of a hurricane, the chaos and power of the storm swirling around him. This mental image, charged with intense emotion and focused will, resonated with the energy of the interrogation chamber, creating a momentary flux in its structure. Seizing the moment, James directed his thoughts towards creating a pathway to freedom, envisioning a door where none had existed before. The chamber, responding to the intensity and clarity of his visualization, fluctuated, and for a split second, a portal flickered into existence. James didn't hesitate. He leapt through the opening, just as the Zorblatians realized what was happening. Beyond the chamber, James found himself in the labyrinthine corridors of the Zorblatian ship. His understanding of quantum physics and his observations of the ship's internal logic during his captivity guided him as he navigated through the alien vessel. He moved with purpose, driven by a blend of adrenaline and the knowledge that his actions might determine more than his own fate. The Zorblatians were quick to respond, sealing off sections of the ship and deploying security measures designed to halt his progress. Yet, James's intimate engagement with their technology and his agile mind allowed him to stay one step ahead. He exploited the ship's thought-responsive nature, using his captor's confusion and his own rapidly adapted understanding to avoid capture. James's escape was more than a physical endeavor. It was a battle of wits, a test of will. Amidst the chaos of his daring escape, James Carter found himself not only evading the Zorblatians' advanced security measures, but also, unexpectedly, navigating the complexities of their internal conflict. The Zorblatians, beings of pure energy and thought, had been profoundly affected by James's resilience and the depth of human emotion he had shared. A faction within their ranks, moved by his displays of compassion, courage, and the philosophical dilemmas he posed, began to see him, and by extension, humanity, in a new light. This faction, led by Zor, a Zorblatian who had closely monitored James's interrogation, was intrigued by the potential for a peaceful coexistence with humanity. Zor and his followers represented a minority within the Zorblatian collective, advocating for exploration and alliance over domination and control. They saw in James not a threat, but a bridge to understanding a previously unfathomable depth of consciousness and emotion. As James stealthily moved towards what he hoped was his route back to Earth, he encountered Zor. Expecting confrontation, James was taken aback when Zor communicated, not with hostility, but with an offer of assistance. Zor explained the schism James had inadvertently caused within the Zorblatian society, a division between those who wished to continue their traditional path of cold observation and intervention, and those who, inspired by James, advocated for empathy and mutual growth. Skeptical but realizing the potential for a powerful ally, James listened as Zor proposed a plan. Zor and his sympathizers would help James return to Earth with a message of peace and an offer of knowledge exchange between humans and Zorblatians. In return, James would need to convince humanity of the Zorblatians' peaceful intentions and their desire to learn from and share with Earth. Collaborating with Zor and his faction required James to employ all his diplomatic and intellectual skills. He worked closely with Zor to understand the Zorblatians' technology and culture, seeking ways to bridge the vast differences between their species. Together, they crafted a message to humanity, detailing the Zorblatians' wish for peace and the mutual benefits of an alliance. The plan was fraught with risk. The majority of the Zorblatian collective remained unconvinced, viewing Zor's actions as a betrayal of their principles. Meanwhile, James knew that convincing humanity to trust a previously unknown alien race would be challenging, especially given the dramatic circumstances of his own encounter. Despite these obstacles, the unlikely allies moved forward. Using Zorblatian technology, they prepared for James's return to Earth. Zor provided James with a device designed to facilitate communication between humans and Zorblatians, ensuring that the dialogue initiated by James's return would continue. In the final moments before his departure, James reflected on the incredible turn of events. What had begun as a harrowing abduction had evolved into the formation of an unprecedented alliance, one that held the promise of uniting two vastly different species in a shared quest for knowledge and understanding. As the escape pod carrying James hurtled towards Earth, he knew that the challenges ahead were daunting. Yet, the alliance he had forged with Zor and the peace-seeking Zorblatians filled him with hope. The potential for a future where humans and James Carter's return to Earth was nothing short of a global spectacle. The world watched in awe and anticipation as the escape pod, a marvel of Zorblatian technology, descended into the atmosphere, its trajectory ending in a gentle landing in the outskirts of Clearwater. The military, scientists, and media from across the globe converged on the small town, eager to learn of James's experiences and the intentions of the Zorblatians. Emerging from the pod, James was immediately thrust into the spotlight, a position he neither desired nor shunned. He understood the gravity of his mission, to convey the peaceful intentions of the Zorblatians and the potential for a groundbreaking alliance between Earth and the Zorblatians. In the days that followed, James worked tirelessly, debriefing with top officials, engaging in discussions with scientists, and sharing his story with the world through carefully orchestrated press conferences. The device given to him by Zor proved instrumental in these efforts. It allowed him to communicate the Zorblatians' message with clarity and precision, bridging the gap between the two species' vastly different modes of communication. Skepticism and fear were rampant, but so too were curiosity and hope. The revelations about the Zorblatians' advanced technology, their desire for peaceful coexistence, and the possibility of sharing knowledge and resources sparked a global debate on the future of human extraterrestrial relations. James's first-hand account of his escape, and the role played by Zor and his faction in facilitating it, captivated the public imagination. Here was a tale not of invasion and conflict, but of understanding and diplomacy, a narrative that challenged the prevailing notions of extraterrestrial contact. The emotional depth and intellectual challenges of his interaction with the Zorblatians, particularly the exchanges that led to his escape and the formation of the alliance, were highlighted as evidence of the potential for mutual growth and respect between the two civilizations. Amidst the whirlwind of his return, James remained a steadfast advocate for the alliance he had helped forge. He spoke eloquently of the potential benefits to humanity, advances in technology, insights into the universe, and, perhaps most importantly, a place within a broader community of intelligent life. He also stressed the importance of approaching this new relationship with openness, caution, and an unwavering commitment to peace. The Zorblatians, for their part, maintained a respectful distance, allowing humanity time to process and decide on the path forward. Occasional displays of their ships in the night sky served as gentle reminders of their presence and their awaiting proposal of friendship and alliance. As governments, organizations, and individuals around the world debated and deliberated, James found himself at the center of a historical moment. His story had become a catalyst for change, a bridge between two worlds standing on the brink of a new era. The negotiations and discussions that followed would be complex and fraught with challenges, but the groundwork had been laid for a future where humanity could step beyond the confines of Earth and into a community of galactic civilizations. James Carter's return marked the end of his extraordinary journey and the beginning of humanity's venture into a wider universe filled with unknowns, challenges, and possibilities. The impact of James Carter's return and the revelation of the Zorblatian proposition for peace and alliance rippled through the fabric of human society, igniting a renaissance of thought, curiosity, and above all, hope. In the wake of this extraordinary encounter, humanity stood on the threshold of a new era, one defined by the promise of interstellar diplomacy, shared knowledge, and the profound realization that we were not alone in the vast expanse of the universe. James, having played a pivotal role in unveiling this new reality, found himself at the forefront of an unprecedented movement. He became an ambassador, not just in the political sense, but as a symbol of the potential for unity and cooperation across the stars. His experience and insight were invaluable as Earth navigated the complexities of establishing formal relations with the Zorblatians. The establishment of the Earth-Zorblatian alliance was a meticulous process, grounded in mutual respect and the shared desire for peace. James worked closely with leaders from around the world and representatives of the Zorblatian faction led by Zor. Together, they laid the groundwork for a treaty that would ensure the exchange of knowledge, technology, and cultural insights, while safeguarding the sovereignty and independence of both civilizations. This period of negotiation and collaboration brought about a global shift in perspective. The erstwhile fears of alien conquest or subjugation gave way to optimism about the opportunities that lay ahead. The Zorblatians shared technologies that revolutionized energy production, medicine, and transportation on Earth, ushering in an age of sustainability and prosperity previously unimaginable. In return, humanity offered the Zorblatians insights into the complexity of human emotions, art, and culture, enriching the Zorblatian understanding of the universe with perspectives they had never considered. As the Earth-Zorblatian alliance flourished, so too did a broader interstellar dialogue. Other civilizations, once wary of revealing themselves, came forward, drawn by the example of cooperation and peaceful coexistence set by Earth and the Zorblatians. The alliance became the cornerstone of a growing galactic community, dedicated to the principles of mutual respect, non-intervention, and shared prosperity. James Carter, the astrophysicist who had been thrust into the heart of this historic transition, dedicated his life to fostering understanding and collaboration between Earth and its interstellar neighbors. His legacy was not just the role he played in establishing the Earth-Zorblatian alliance, but the hope he inspired for a future where humanity could transcend its divisions and challenges to take its place among the stars. As the sun set on a world transformed, James stood looking up at the stars, now not as distant lights in the night sky, but as destinations, as homes to friends and allies. The universe, once a vast and lonely place, felt smaller, warmer, filled with the light of countless civilizations shining together in the darkness. This was the new dawn for which humanity had longed, a future made possible by the courage to reach out, to understand, and to embrace the unknown. In this new era, the story of James Carter and his unexpected journey